Welcome back to Radio Row. I thought things were winding down on Thursday. I thought we were just taking our time and just getting some stuff edited. And then suddenly, a man walks up to me and says, would you like to interview an absolute superstar about his new Netflix series? I said, that sounds good to me. And it turns out that superstar is one of the very best wide receivers to ever do it. Multiple-time Super Bowl winner, Hall of Famer, and a bit of a legend. Michael Irvin, how are you, sir?
Man, I'm doing well, man. I love your accent, man. I want that accent, man. Every time I'm over there, man, I'd be like, darn, I wish I had this accent. You know, big black brother like me with that accent, man, I would create all kind of havoc. Boy, I'm telling you, I can tear them up.
Absolute chaos.
Chaos.
It's amazing. So we do the play-by-play for the game, and some of our clips have gone on like the NFL channels and gone viral this year, Jonathan Taylor and other bits. And I think it's just the accent. I'm not sure I'm even doing a good job, but I think people just hear the accent.
That accent, man.
I love it.
When I was over there, too, in the UK, when I'm over there, man, it was so funny, right? Because I'm walking around, and I love the accent.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm asking people to talk to me, and they're looking at me like, why are you looking at me like that, Todd? They said, we like your accent. I said, what accent? I don't have an accent. You have the accent. And I'm a dummy. I realized, wait a minute, I guess I do sound different over here. I sound different. Then I tried to talk to everybody to see, you know what I mean? Because I didn't know that you never consider yourself having an accent. Well, you know what I mean? Because you do it all the time. But when I was there, I was like, oh, man, okay, this is good, man. I love UK.
You had a great time over there. We had a great time hanging out with you briefly while you were there as well. And you're having a great time here. You're promoting your new show on Netflix, White House. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it's White House. And a hell of a name, because it's the name. I bet there's no one in the world that hasn't heard that name, the White House. And since I had my own White House in my playing days, I thought, let's lean into this. Let's play with this. In the White House, you have what you call a situation room, right, where they go discuss situations. And in our White House, we have that. We have all the guys that have had situations, the Brandon Marshalls, myself, the Michael Beasleys, the Charles Haleys. I really call it my ministry. The Bible talks about how we should confess one to another, pray ye one for the other. In this we will find healing. The world tells you don't say anything and certainly don't share anything that you're going through. The reality is you're supposed to share what you're going through so we can help others that are going through it also. So if we're coming in being transparent, speaking about our situations, openly talking about situations, then everybody sits down with us, come in the White House with us. They get a comfort to speak about their situations. And honestly, let's talk the real here. Men are dying 15, 20 years earlier than women are. Why? Why is that happening? Because we hold everything inside. We don't ever let anything out. The women, they're doing all of these they do little tea parties, even growing, hey girl, and they just talking and crying together, and we don't do none of that. And then we go. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we.
I just want to be clear, Michael Irvin, if you ever want to have a tea party with me, I'll have.
Right, we'll have a tea party, right? But that's the kicker, though. So you got to use sport. You guys know, men. It's all we want to do is talk sports.
Oh yeah.
So I got to use sports as to crank up the car. That's the ignition. Now the drive has to be about life, and then as we get into the drive, we talk about life and how we help each other as men. But I got to open the door through sports. That's the only way you can get men talking.
So who's on with you?
Brandon Marshall comes on with me, Michael Beasley, and everybody else comes on. We have other guys on. I had, like I said, Charles Haley, Keyshawn. We're waiting on Jamar Chase right now. I'll go and sit down and talk with one of them, who's just one of the best in the NFL today. So yeah, we get everybody in and just want to talk about everything.
I love it. Absolutely love it. But I am going to talk to you about sports. Because
yes,
that's what
it's about. Sports.
You're right. How do you assess the Cowboys this season? First year under Brian Schottenheimer. I think they surprised a lot of people, even though obviously not getting to the level that many in Dallas would like to see.
Went to dinner. I was at dinner when I come out here Monday. So it was Saturday night. I was at dinner and was with Coach Schottenheimer over at Catch in Dallas. Great dinner with the family, saw the family. And I told Coach then, I really love what I saw this year out of Dallas. There are some things that you certainly got to work on, but you got the base for a great offense. You just got to find the consistency in that offense, and then you have you go get the parts on that defense, and you can end up honestly in this game next year. Especially with that offense that could put up 35 to 40 points a game, they just got to find the consistency every week to go out and dominate.
I love what they did this season at the wide receiver position. George Pickens on the outside opening so much up. I mean, he's probably the first outside receiver that Dak's had since like Michael Gallup in 2021. And it just opens up everything for CD. And when both are healthy, it's super exciting. I mean, are they going to have to do everything they can to retain that man and keep him in Dallas?
Right. And you're right. Dallas has to do everything they can to retain him. But I believe, and I'm going to state this, George has to do what he can to make sure that happens. Let me tell you what I mean by that. Michael Parsons didn't win in that with that trade. Dallas didn't win. Jerry Jones didn't win. You know, Green Bay Packers got them a pretty good player.
It's not a bad player.
Right, a great player. But Michael Parsons don't want to be in Green Bay. You know, every chance he gets, he's flying back to Dallas. So think about this. And the reason I say the only person who won was the agent, because the agent announced he got $47 million a year in new money. That means that don't start to this year. He played last year. So the reality is he didn't get $47 million a year. You spread it out using this year, it was $42 million a year. And Jerry was at 40 or 41. So you left your home, you left where you're going to spend the rest of your life for less than $1 million, and you're going to lose that in state taxes. So I'm just saying, George Pickens, who has the same agent, has to be smart enough and be in control of his own destiny and say, I'm not leaving Dallas. I've been looking for a quarterback and waiting to have this kind of season all my career, and I had it. And now that I find it, I'm not letting nobody make me leave Dallas. You'll get a great deal, and you'll have a great career. But the player has to also step up to make sure that happens.
And I'm totally with you. And here's the reason I think he does do that. Because George Pickens, the knock on him before he went to Dallas was that on the plays where he's not targeted, he's not running those routes.
Right.
He's not blocking. By about week 7 or 8, I remember we did a Dallas game on TV, and that guy is blocking like he's in a Kyle Shanahan system and he's a third choice, fourth choice receiver.
Right.
And he was just, you could see the passion, you could see the love was there. And I think it would be stupid to let him out the door no matter what that looks like, but I think I'm with you.
On every side. It's stupid on the Cowboys side. It's stupid on his side. It'll be stupid for the agent to get him out of here. You can't tell me you care about his kid and you go and send him someplace that doesn't have a quarterback and you don't know what kind of way it's going to work out when you know this kid has had some things going on and now he's finally found a home. We got to get this thing about the player, and the player has to make sure it's about him and not the agent.
I love that you still live and spend time in the area. We had Darren Woodson on earlier, still lives in the area. Troy still lives in the area. Like, what do I say about the Cowboys, particularly your era, but that, like, guys love the place, love to play for the team, stay, and then stay there afterwards.
And you're right, because you get treated like king. You know, we delivered so many championships and so many great moments. No matter where you go, people treat you like a king. That means something. Like, okay, do I want 10 years of playing or in some city, or do I want 50 years? I'm going 50 years in Dallas, not just the 10 I played, but the other 40 living there, you know what I mean? Because you get to use it and live off of it for the rest of your life. So absolutely. Dallas is such a great place. It's a great place, man. We all stay there. And you know what? We're all still great friends to this day.
I love that.
We've never had an issue. We've never had a problem. Troy, Emmett, and all these guys, we'll group text, and it took them a minute. They all funny. It took them a minute. I always say, whenever we get ready to hang up, hey, I love you guys, man. I love you guys. Love you. And Troy like, yes. First they would give you just a thumbs up. But now it's been enough years. They all finally start saying, everybody, love you, man. Love you, man. We love you. So we say we love you all the time to each other. But Troy was probably the tough one to crack on that. He was just, I got y'all. Like, I got you. But we had that place, man. It's the greatest thing in the world to have still those friendships after you've had those great moments because they bind you forever.
With Troy, there was a lot of talk at times about could he be part of that front office in Dallas? Would Jerry ever bring him in? He hinted it at times. Could you ever see that happening? Could you ever see him becoming?
I would have loved to see that happen. I really would have. And I see Troy now helps out with the Dolphins and everything, and as a consultant and everything. But I think Troy's invaluable, and he could be such valuable information for anybody. When I get these teams, they're looking for head coaches, and they're always talking about, well, we're going to go and do a search and have a firm do a search. I'm like, what are you talking about? Just talk to the guys that do the game. Talk to the Troy Aikmans and the Tony Romos, the Tom Bradys. That's who you find out about coaches from, because they have to sit with those coaches and talk the scheme, the plans, and not just X's and O's. You got coaches, there are great coaches that are X and O coaches, but there are great coaches that's Jimmy and Joe's coaches, and what you really want as a head coach is a great X and O that can Jimmy and Joe. I want you to draw up the plays, but I want you to know how to go get the best out of each player to run those plays, and that's the kicker. That's what you want to try to find. And who better to find out who those guys are than the guys that talk to them every week before games. That's why Troy's is just valuable information to use a Troy.
I absolutely love that. And talking to a guy who's been coaching, another buddy of yours, Deion Sanders, what have you made of his journey into coaching? Could he ever be a Cowboy coach? Like, I love the idea of it. In my mind, it's so blockbuster. It's so Hollywood.
It would be. Oh, my God. I've had that idea, too. I thought about it and really wanted it to happen. Especially, I'm going to tell you, I went so far as to breaking it down all the way. It's been 30 years since the Cowboys won a Super Bowl. And really, the Bible speaks of a generation in 40 years. 40 years is a generation. So in another 10 years, it's like, man, this whole generation missed a Cowboy winning a Super Bowl. So you risk losing a huge fan base. The reason you get attached to your team so great is because you get to experience the glory of a championship story. And you're like, man, I can't wait to do that. I want to do it again. I want to do it again. And if you never had that experience, how can you be engrafted with your team? And I was like, well, even since we haven't had it and we want to keep the young audience, Deion is great with the young audience because he on his social media. He's great with it. So I thought that would have been a great hire. But it didn't happen.
I'm not suggesting he should replace Brian Shaw.
Right. Well, no, me and you were on the same page. Remember, I was trying to get the job for the before they hired Brian Schottenheimer. So Brian had to win me over. And I'm saying he did win me over. But I was trying to get time in here, too. Trust me.
Last one from me, and we'll just mention White House again. But you talked about Jamar Chase being one of the best in the league. Give me your top 3 receivers you love watching in the NFL right now.
And I love you ask the question because I want to break it down for you this way. You remember we watched Cooper Kupp in that
jersey right behind you there.
Yeah, it's a bad boy. It's a bad boy. Cooper Kupp went off, man. And I'm gonna tell you something. Now what you see, you got Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Puka Nacua, and JSN. All 4 of those guys now, for their offense, they're the Cooper Kupps for their offense. And they're all running the same offense. And they put those guys in position to win. And those 4 right now are the top receivers in the National Football League. I'll throw CeeDee Lamb in there also. But they all run the same system, and they run the same position, and they are devastatingly incredible, because they all know how to beat you man to man, but they also have a system that beats you system to system. What I mean by that, like when we played the Jerry Rices, I remember playing Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice used to do a go in motion and then come back out and run to the end corner of the end zone. See, that's a scheme. He's not beating just his man. That's a scheme because his man's going to get picked. You know what I mean? So the scheme got Jerry open. Jerry Rice can beat you man to man. all the four of those guys I just mentioned, Puka, JSN, Jamar, and Justin Jefferson, can beat you man to man. But you put them in this kind of system, then its door is off. It blows everything up. So those would be my top four right now.
Speaking about a man who could beat you man to man, could beat you with system, could beat you in any way, shape, or form, Mike Irvin, thank you so much for your time. The White House Wants More on Netflix. When are we seeing it? Is it out now? Is it
Yeah, it's out now 2 times a week on Netflix. So you just tune in, man. I told Jimmy Kimmel last night. I was on Jimmy Kimmel. I said, you can come and talk the situation, and you can talk. I come to my White House, and you could talk about the situation you had with his White House, with Trump White House. And I told Jimmy, I said, at least everybody that came to my White House left with a happy ending. I don't know what they do at his White House, but usually in the end at my White House, everybody's happy. You see what I'm saying. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Thank you so much, brother. That was absolutely wonderful.